The World of Warcraft dungeon and raid team for Blizzard is no joke. They are quite incredible even during the worst of World of Warcraft expansions. Sometimes they even come up with brilliant solutions for the lack of an updated game engine. Well, today we take a look at one of the best optical illusions that the Blizzard team has ever created. Today we look at the secrets of the Grimrail Depot, featuring Senpai the Explorer, an explorer just like all of us who happens to also make YouTube videos just like me. I know I've shouted her out on the channel many times before, but this video strictly would not have been possible without her showing me how to perform it. Check out her channel below and also be sure to thank her for helping me make this video. In this video, you will see how to get out of bounds via Senpai the Explorer, and you will see the strangest optical illusion that I've covered in World of Warcraft, and you will see another secret area of the Grimrail Depot that can be explored out of bounds. Stay tuned for all of that while we uncraft the Grimrail Depot. If you like the video and you want to see more, go ahead and immolate yourself so that way the like button catches on fire. Let's jump in. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to head into the instance, obviously. And then whenever you head into the instance, you're going to go pretty much just straight through it, and Senpai the Explorer will be my guide here, obviously. And of course, you're going to have to kill this first boss here. I do not remember his name. Rocket, Spark, and Borka. So then you go up this scaffolding here, like you would in the normal instance. Now, obviously, you'll want to skip this cutscene if you want to get through it as soon as possible. And then you'll be in the Grimrail train. So then you're going to clear this first car here. And then now this is where the glitch begins. So she is saying right here, this is where the glitch begins, and all you need to do is double jump and then use your vengeful retreat, and you should get stuck in this little corner here. And once you're stuck in this little corner here, you're going to wait for your vengeful retreat to reset, and then you're going to face your character towards the south by looking at this wooden pillar here. Now, the first time we did this, she said just a vengeful retreat. That's not the case. You actually have to double jump and then vengeful retreat as I show here. And voila, you are out of bounds. And look at how strange this is. Instead of, just like being on top of the land, you're on top of an invisible plane, and the landscape is still moving. Now this blew me away that whenever I first saw it. I was absolutely stunned. And to the point where actually I was supposed to follow her, and I didn't. But anyway, yes, you can be inside of this mountain and you can't clip into it. And so there we go. This is why this is an optical illusion. You can clearly see that the landscape is actually moving. However, the train is completely still. And that means that whenever you're just playing this regularly, you may not ever notice that. Except for there's something that can actually show that pretty easily, which I'll show at the very end of the video. So stay tuned for that. There's actually a way to see this even if you don't want to glitch out of bounds, even if you're not a demon hunter. You pretty much have to be a demon hunter to do this glitch, so. But you can see that the train is fake. Right here, we're just like, we're looking at all the scenery and looking at how interesting it is. You see here, there's like two layers of land, one underneath it. From what I've heard, that is actually like covering the normal instance, so you can't see it below. Which is weird that they would do that if you're not supposed to be out here at all. I guess maybe in case you fall through the map or something, who knows. But yeah, this is one of the trippiest things I've ever seen in World of Warcraft. It's really bizarre. I don't think there's too many places like this. There's only one other optical illusion that I want to dive into. It's the one in the Dragon Soul, but I want to get to that instance later. That would be a part 2 for that video. It's a very interesting looking area. Like all this terrain just keeps coming at you and there's not really much you can do. There's actually more to this though. Hidden Azeroth gets really in depth into this, what goes on here. I'll show it at the very end, more of a take on that. This is one of my favorite parts right here. It's just like an empty plain, no mountain. Well, I mean, I'm inside of a mountain, but like it just looks interesting. It reminds me of Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Like I don't know why, but it does. Okay, so now we keep walking forward here. If you're closer to the train, you need to be careful because it'll actually kill you and send you back to the beginning of the train. It's not a big deal. It's pretty easy to get out of bounds here. Yeah, you want to be farther out and walk to the front of the plane.
What the hell is that?
Plane? In front of the train. Okay, so right there. So if you go just in front of the train, you'll actually fall underneath the map. And that's what we do here. There is a giant hole back there, as you can see. So don't fall into that, because that's the actual instance, and you may not make it to the instance part of it, and you might just fall all the way through. But look at this. Look how incredible this is. You can see the entire underside of the map, and it's casually going past you. Really interesting. I'm glad that Senpai the Explorer was able to show me all this. I think it's quite interesting, that's for sure. This is one of my favorite views in World of Warcraft that I've ever seen. When you're underneath it, you can definitely see the optical illusion completely breaks when you're underneath it, because you can clearly tell that the landscape is going past it and the train is moving still. This is one of the best views you can get of it because it's impossible not to tell right here. So if you walk far enough south, you'll actually be met with the glitched oceans. Now, I've talked about these before, but you can't go past them. The only thing I'll note here is that the water does look a little bit strange. It looks very purple for whatever reason. I wish that there was a way to get past this water, but I've never been able to find out a way. I'm pretty sure you'd have to implement some unwelcome strategies, let's just say that. Okay, and I guess I never gave a formal goodbye to Senpai the Explorer on camera. Now, obviously I did on the game itself, but I do want to really shout out Senpai the Explorer. It was amazing that she showed me this area. There will be a couple more videos with her on the channel. I don't know if they'll be next week or what, but when I'm able to, I will shout out her in that video as well. So now that she showed me the basics of that, I actually went back to the instance and wanted to see if there was more to it. I didn't know, I had no idea. I had just watched Hidden Azeroth video, and so I did want to show some more off with the Grimrail train, just to show it off. I mean, you could obviously watch his video and you would see the same thing that I'm going to show you here, so it's nothing too spectacular. But before I wanted to show you off the other thing that Hidden Azeroth had, I wanted to just explore this bottom area a little bit more myself. With Senpai the Explorer, we just kind of briefly explored the lower area because she was just showing me off that the area exists, and I wanted to check it out myself. There's really not a whole lot down here though. I got some really cool views of like the volcanoes going overhead, and that's really interesting. So basically when I went back, I basically just got some more views. I went to each direction to see what was beyond each direction, you know, like north, south, east, and west. There's water. There's water at each direction. So it's really nothing too crazy. Okay, so one thing I noticed here, I'm at this border again with the ocean, but there is some kind of land mass way out in the distance. Now, when I first saw this, I was very confused, but it makes a lot more sense when I explain it later. So we'll get to that in just a minute. And so let's jump into the abyss, since I'm done exploring the underneath layer of the train. Now, I've heard stories, and I think Hidden Azeroth did this as well, and I know Senpai the Explorer explained this. You can actually make it back into the instance, but I clearly don't do that here. I just kind of fall. Goodbye, cruel world. So now I came back to the instance a little bit later on. And I wanted to actually go through the train itself and actually, you know, kill all the bosses here. Because I wanted to see if there's anything else on the train, which I didn't think so. But yeah, this is such a cool boss fight if you're like actually playing the instance. I didn't mind it. I know some people hated it, but I thought it was pretty cool. It's a very short instance. So after you kill the last boss, the train actually explodes, which is interesting to say the least. And you'll actually be landed on this little plane here, or this little, you know, mountainous area. Now, normally if you do this, you'd just be like, oh, okay, that's cool, and then you'd exit the instance, but that's not what I did here. I decided I wanted to try and figure out how to get out of bounds, because of course, as a demon hunter, I'm obliged to do so. There's some pretty good invisible walls here. I tried to use Door of Shadows out here quite a bit, but I couldn't really find a whole lot of areas to do that. I tried to use a seesaw here, that didn't work either. I tried to use these rocks to my advantage, but that also did not work. You can actually climb up very high on these rocks, like all the way to the very top, and you can get a good look at the second layer here, but even that has an invisible barrier to it, so very good job on Blizzard's part. ish. This still prevented me from getting out of bounds, but where there's a will, there's certainly a way. Okay, so I then tried to get past the entrance portal, and you can get past the entrance portal pretty easily, or exit portal I should say, and unfortunately you can't do anything out here either. Okay, so I gave up on the exit portal, and so I went over to this ship to see if I could get out of bounds, and lo and behold, if you use Metamorphosis there, you can actually climb up the ship. Maybe Door of Shadow works there too, I'm pretty sure it would. So I thought that was very, very interesting. At this point, you can't go any higher up. So I had to wait until I got Door of Shadows back. But once I did get Door of Shadows back, you can actually climb up the ship even further. And so I was able to climb up a little bit more with that Door of Shadows, and then I used it again and I could climb up even more. So I went as high as I possibly could, and again, I'll have to wait for another Door of Shadows. And I got to the very, very top of the ship, and I jumped into the desert looking area. And unfortunately, we hit a point where we got completely stuck, couldn't move forward, couldn't move backwards, couldn't use Door of Shadow, couldn't use Metamorphosis. But if you look here, we're on top of the mountains, and it's just a giant plain. So the area I saw way back in the video was actually this area over here. I just obviously didn't know it at the time. So it's really cool that you can see this area in the distance, and you can actually, get glitch out of bounds here too. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought I'd mention that. Okay, now I want to show you guys something incredibly interesting. So this right here was from Hidden Azeroth. I learned it from him. So you can actually jump into the background. If you jump into these spikes here, you can see that the ground underneath me is actually moving and I'm standing still. This is what Hidden Azeroth was talking about with the optical illusion, that actually the foreground and background move at different speeds. So the ground that's right next to you is moving at a certain speed, but the background is actually moving at a different speed. I don't know if it's either faster or slower. He explains it more in depth than I do. But isn't that just strange? I'm actually in the background. I'm actually moving incredibly quickly, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like I'm standing. And for whatever reason, I actually died there. I don't really know how, but that's the thing. But I did want to point that out because I thought it was super, super interesting that World of Warcraft was able to pull off such an incredible optical illusion. Now, one thing I do want to note, and this is the very last part of the video, I mentioned earlier that you can actually see this optical illusion without glitching out of bounds, and you can. This guy at the very beginning, his name is Motion Sick Peon. Well, he actually sells a motion sick potion, and I can understand that, they're running the instance and they just makes them sick. I actually have people in my videos say that my videos make them motion sick, and I'm sorry. Glitching out of bounds is not exactly for motion sick people, and it's unfortunate because I wish they could watch my videos easier too. I'll try to make it more, motion sickness friendly. I wanted to see what this potion would do, and so when I used it, world stops moving. But see, if you look, the tires are still spinning, or the wheels I should say, and also the wind blowing off of the train are still going. So even if you had never glitched out of bounds and saw that, this was an optical illusion, you could actually just take this potion and clearly see that the train is not moving, which, it kind of breaks the immersion, but I would understand if you're motion sick, you don't want to be on a moving train like that. I mean, shoot, that'd be bad. So anyway, I decided to glitch out of bounds here just to see what the area would look like whenever the landscape is not moving. And there it is. I thought that was pretty interesting. You can clearly still walk through the walls and you can see all the stuff. Yeah, obviously it's not moving now, so I thought that was pretty cool. Now I wish at this point you could explore the whole area. I'm not sure if you can though. I tried to explore a little bit here. You can easily just fall through the map again. And that's pretty much it for the exploration of the weirdest and craziest optical illusion in World of Warcraft. If you enjoyed the video, comment on it, subscribe to the channel. There's plenty more to come. We're gonna explore the craziest out of bound areas We're going to explore every dungeon and instance that we possibly can, you know, stuff out in the world. It's going to be a little bit crazy. There's so much going on the channel. There's so much going on in my life. So stay tuned for more. I try to release a video as often as I can. Thank you guys for watching. This is Game UnCrafter featuring Senpai the Explorer.